You're looking at a chart of the dollar index on a monthly interval. The dollar index, basically known as DXY, trades inverse to the euro. It's heavily weighted against the euro. And so if the dollar index is going up, euro is typically going down, as well as other foreign currencies and commodities. Okay. So what's interesting here on the monthly chart is that we've completely rebalanced this, what was previously buy side inefficiency. Okay. So in this month, the current month of May, you can see we have gone down all the way and rebalanced this market, okay? And now that we've done that, we are headed higher. We can see immediately previous month's high, okay? So that will be the draw on liquidity. So the dollar index is bullish, and therefore this would indicate bearishness on the euro and indices and other pairs, but mostly euro. Okay, it's heavily weighted against the euro. Now we can also see once we get through those highs, previous month highs, well then there is more liquidity up the top there. Okay, so all we're seeing here is that the dollar index is bullish, okay, after completely rebalancing this market from the previous month inefficiency with this huge move up previously. Okay, now let's jump to a weekly. Okay, so weekly we can see that this blue shaded area is a previous gap. Okay, so if I make this a little bit bigger, you can see the high of this wick and the low of this wick. Okay, so there's the three candles that make up a gap, and the middle candle has had buy side price delivery. Okay, and all of that has now been rebalanced. Okay, with the previous week in the dollar index going down, which is why in the previous week the euro was going up. Okay, the dollar index is now back inside of that gap. Okay, and we are headed higher, as we can see this week as well. And I would expect us to get through this previous level of inefficiency, which is now rebalanced. And essentially, I'm expecting that to then be support, and then we continue moving higher. And you can see that there are some very nice relative equal highs that will draw as liquidity for this market. Okay, that level there is 106.5. Okay, so I'm expecting the dollar index to continue rising, which would mean it will put pressure on euro and other pairs, and therefore I would expect the euro to be declining. Okay, and if we get through there, well then we've got some higher relative equal highs to the left that we may be targeting, but we want to first see how we react once we get above these current weekly highs. Okay, so all we are seeing here is bullishness on the DXY, and therefore expecting bearishness for foreign currencies, in particular the euro, perhaps the indices, and perhaps commodities. Okay, and so let's drop down to a daily time frame. Okay, so if we're going from the month to the week and now to the daily time frame, we can see that similar pattern on the daily. Okay, the blue shaded area is that weekly imbalance that has now been fully balanced. Okay, and we are still inside of there. You can see that this big wick down from a couple of days ago, where DXY has reached into a bigger gap on the left, and we've reached a 50% level of that. Okay, and then we've rejected from that level, from this larger gap. Okay, from Wednesday 10th of April, and notice that that's also created a wick which I've now measured, and we could not even get down to the 50% of that range for the wick high, okay, and low. So when I've measured that wick, that range, there's the 50% mark, and DXY is so strong that it did not manage to even get to 50% of that wick, which is something that indicates the bullishness in the dollar index. Okay, so we've managed to come down and rebalance this particular gap on the left on the daily chart. Okay, and what I like to do is measure where the halfway point, which we have come down into, down from this day, which then has created its own wick, and I've then taken that range and I have marked out the 50% of that, and we can see that on this day DXY was not able to get down to the 50% level of that wick, indicating strength in DXY. And I've mentioned this type of bar previously, where you open at here and then you immediately retrace and balance some of that movement to a previous level of imbalance, and then immediately go back up. That indicates bullishness, as we can see on the day after and on today. Okay, we can see on this daily chart we have relative equal highs, and my expectation is that DXY will continue to rise up to that level and take out the liquidity that is currently resting above. And so, as I said, strength in the dollar index indicates weakness in foreign currencies, in particular euro, because the dollar index is heavily weighted against the euro. We may also see some form of weakness in commodities as well as indices. Okay, so your job is to now monitor this chart. Okay, I'm using TradingView, symbol DXY, and for your learning, monitor the chart and see how price behaves over the next couple of days, in particular on heavy news days, in particular on heavy US dollar news days. Okay, so I'll talk with you now in a future video.